Hey guys, Pete here. Today I'm going to talk more about Dark Season 3. They updated the official Dark website with a modified version of the painting that Adam has hanging in the Sic Mundus lair. That brings up some interesting questions and actually ties in with an update I wanted to add to my last Season 3 theories video. Also, they added the phrase "the end is the beginning" to the homepage, which isn't new, but I have been thinking about it and want to discuss it. Before we get going though, this video will contain spoilers. If you're not into that sort of thing or aren't caught up through the end of Season 2, then this video won't be something you're going to want to watch. I will mention spoilery photos from behind the scenes of filming Season 3 that are out there. And there was a bit of confirmation information that leaked out in relation to the website update, but I won't mention that until the very end. Netflix has posted an official description for Season 3 since I last made a video. It reads, "In the third and final season, Dark reaches its mind-bending conclusion, moving beyond the concept of space and time. Upon arrival in a new world, Jonas tries to make sense of what this rendition of Winden means for his own fate, while the ones left behind in the other world are left on a quest to break the loop that now not only bends time but also space. Two worlds, light and dark, and in the center, a tragic love story of epic proportions." This isn't giving a lot away. It lines up with our expectations that Jonas will spend time in the alternate world where he presumably traveled with Alt Martha at the end of Season 2. The ones who are left behind most likely refers to the group of survivors in the bunker. We know that Claudia will be experimenting with the God particle, and that Noah and Elizabeth will get together, with the latter giving birth to her own mother, Charlotte. It's interesting how they emphasize the epic love story at the center of things. I'm reminded of a long-form interview I watched with the showrunners last year where they brought that up. It's funny because as a viewer, I spend so much time trying to figure out how everything works that I forget that the star-crossed relationship between Jonas and Martha is foundational to the story they're telling us. The last bit, two worlds, light and dark, is a perfect transition into the painting in the background of the official website. The original piece is the one we've seen under the church in Adam's lair. It's named The Fall of the Damned, or The Fall of the Rebel Angels, and it was painted by Peter Paul Rubens. Rubens was an influential Flemish painter from the Baroque movement. It's a 17th century religious painting that depicts the archangel Michael expelling Lucifer and the rebel angels from heaven. We see the archangel at the top, in the light section of the painting that represents heaven, and see the angels falling towards the dark. As they fall, we see their flesh being torn away by demonic-looking creatures. The version of the painting on the website has several additions related to the series. In the middle, we see Jonas in a radiation suit. These suits are connected to the God particle time machine in the power plant, so it seems likely that we will see him visit that in Season 3. Above him, we see a pregnant woman in white. The first guess of who this was Jonas Kahnwald, because there's a resemblance. She is Jonas's grandmother. We know that before she adopted Michael, she had a child of her own that died at a very young age. We don't really know the details about that, which leaves some fans wondering if there's more to be learned there. The other popular idea of who this might be is related to a behind-the-scenes photo that the actor who plays Silja posted and then deleted from her Instagram. It's pretty hard not to make a connection here, but we don't know much about the photo itself. In the Reddit post I saw, there was an explanation that the actor had removed the photo, and there was a related shot of Vicari, who plays Alt Martha, that might be on the same couch, indicating that it came from the set. I don't know, I always imagined Silja would be connected in some way or the other, but I guess because of the age we meet her at, I assumed it would be as someone's child rather than a parent. Next we have what looks like an alt-world Tannhaus to me. He's a character we know wears glasses, and the device he's with looks like it's time travel machine related. The only problem is that in Prime Winden, he has dark hair as a young man. But so far, the strategy appears to be to mark the alt-world versions with something to set them apart. If this is Tannhaus, it raises a lot of questions about the evolution of the time machines, but doesn't provide any answers. There is a spherical object involved which brings Alt Martha's device to mind, but we'll have to wait and see what's going on here. From what we see, we can't really deduce what stage of the development of the machines this would be. Below him there's another pregnant woman whose face is obscured completely. This could literally be anybody at this point, as there's nothing that's recognizable as far as I can tell. Not far from her, we have Martha in the yellow raincoat. What stands out most about her image is that she's definitely in the dark portion of the painting, but not necessarily in the pit of hell. Visually, she's closer to the dark elements, sort of on the border, while Jonas above her is closer to the light elements. This may be indicating that Winden Prime is the light world from the Season 3 description, which would make sense since that's where the story started. Beyond that, you can't make out much about her other than she looks distressed. Next, the new character trio is on the bottom left of the painting, and they look like they're firmly in the pit of hell. They don't look out of place there or in any way distressed about it. I wouldn't say this does much in the way of solving the mystery of who this character is. I still believe it's the same person at 3 different points in their life working together, and if anything, this just reinforces that they're probably a dark force that you wouldn't want to come in contact with. Above them is the character from the Season 3 date announcement trailer, who's wearing the pink jacket and beating someone with a rock. This was something that I wanted to update from my last video, because Reddit discovered that her name tag had been digitally changed to read Helene Albers. There was a theory based on one of the behind the scenes photos that she was Katharina's mother, which I wasn't sold on initially. Part of where that skepticism came from was her name being named Helene Wolf. So learning that they went back and changed it is a pretty big deal. Based on in-world documents, we know that Katharina's maiden name was Albers. This connects her to the character who Aegon visited about the sheep dying. His name was listed in the credits as Hermann Albers, so it's been assumed that he's Katharina's father. Changing the name tag, that's something that had to happen for a reason. And the only thing that really makes sense is that this woman is Katharina's mother. Who she's hitting with the rock and why she's important enough to be included in this painting is still a mystery though. The one low-key addition to this is an edit of a couple having sex right in the middle. The woman appears to have dark hair with bangs, which makes you wonder if it's Alt Martha and Jonas. But we can't really make out the man, so it's not really clear. It's painted on top of a character that was in the original, and beyond that, I'm not sure what to make of it. The final 2 additions are both a little strange. On the left side, Claudia's poodle Gretchen has been added. This seems like a bit of fun more than anything else, but we'll see. Above her in heaven, we see Woller with no eye injury. There has been some discussion that this might be Stranger Jonas based on the images we've seen of him in the past, but I don't see it. There's this behind the scenes shot of Woller with the beard that looks like a closer match to me. Does that mean Woller has a big role to play in Season 3? Maybe, or this could just be the showrunners continuing to have fun with the mystery about his eye. That's the last of the added images, and that brings us to the title. When you visit the site, you see the word dark, and then the phrase "the end is the beginning" comes across the screen. After that, it says, discover how everything is the same but different. The last part refers to the 2 worlds, light and dark, and Jonas making sense of what that all means. The end is the beginning is not a new phrase in relation to the series, but now that we're at the end, it's worth thinking about. The shorthand idea I see posted everywhere is that the series will end right back where it started, the beginning, like Season 1, Episode 1. I get the novelty behind this, and that it might be satisfying because it would be in line with causal determinism. I do wonder though how entertaining that might be, considering that not everyone who watches and enjoys this show does so because they like thinking about how time travel might work in practice. There almost has to be something character-driven behind it. It has to matter that nothing can change, and it should make us feel something, or we should be able to connect to it in a way that moves us. And what does that look like? The end being the beginning, other than watching Michael get ready to hang himself. Does it imply that Jonas, as Adam, would just die failing to do anything meaningful as a result of his decades of effort? And don't get me wrong, I like a good tragedy. And I do have faith that if they went this route, they would bake in some sort of catharsis. I'm just curious about what that would be. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think about that in the comments. I can't imagine a scenario where whatever Adam and/or Claudia is trying to do turns out to be the trigger for what we've seen so far, but it raises a crazy amount of questions, so let me know what you think. The last thing I want to talk about before I go is the leaked information from the website I mentioned. I don't think any of it is really shocking or even game-changing, but I thought I should wait until the end if you wanted to avoid it. When the site was updated, Reddit user TIRACO posted a JavaScript file that they found. Inside that, they noticed that the site will start displaying information for characters in two worlds which are labeled A and B. I doubt this is surprising to anyone at this point, but it is notable that there are only two worlds. Overall, this just means when you look up a character, you'll be able to view information on the original and alternate versions. The only three names discovered in relation to World B were Martha, Magnus, and Mads, without any additional context as far as I can tell. Since they're all names that start with the letters MA, I'm not reading too much into that. There's obviously other characters that live in that world. There's also a reference to the year 1888 in World A that shows up in Season 3, Episode 2. Again, we pretty much knew Stranger would end up in that year, but this does seem to confirm it. Finally, the year 2003 from World A shows up on Jonas's timeline. I was hoping that we would see different years, and this seems to confirm that. It's not really clear. Jonas may have been born in 2003 if he was only supposed to be 16 when we first met him. But I've also seen that they cast a child actor to play him at a younger age, and we don't know anything else about that. It'll be interesting to see how this all ties into the ending, and I suppose this would be a good place to end the video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll be doing more dark videos weekly until Season 3 is released. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon.